Tatsunoko vs. Capcom.
Alrighty, welcome to an independent review of Tatsunoko vs. Capcom Ultimate All-Stars. Back in December 2008, Japan exclusively saw the release of Capcom's Tatsunoko vs. Capcom Cross-Generation of Heroes, while many 2D fighting fans in the West, including myself, wept at the news we'd never see Capcom's newest entry into the fabled Versus series. However, due to overwhelming demand and traversing considerable licensing hurdles, Capcom found a way to make it happen. And this is no mere translation. Think of Ultimate All-Stars as the game's next evolution. You could really compare it to Street Fighter II's New Challengers. With additional characters, stages, music, modes, and even balancing tweaks, the result is a fighting game that is nothing short of fantastic. As you'd expect from the Vs. Capcom series, the combos and super moves are totally exciting and over the top, many of which fill the entire screen with streams of light and colour. And you gotta admit, some of them look really cool. The roster isn't the largest you'll ever see, but at 27 fighters it is decently big. And at the same time, every fighter is very unique, there aren't any clones here. And while the Tatsunoko side of the roster may be mostly unknown at first, once you give them a chance, each one has a lot of personality. It's a little sad though that Daimler has to stay home for this one. Guess his passport must have been revoked. But I suppose we've got 5 new characters to fill the void he left behind. Now, I've heard complaints about the shift to a 3-button setup negatively affecting some characters, specifically the ones that were designed with 6, for example, Street Fighter's own Ryu and Chun-li. Without getting into detail about combos, variable supers, aerial raids and baroque cancel mechanics, I can certainly say there is nothing to worry about. And while the 3-button setup does make for very simplified and easy to pick up gameplay, don't be fooled into thinking it's not incredibly deep and competitive. This is one of, if not the most nuanced fighting game I have played in years. Oh, and while I'm on the topic, the game is best played with a classic controller or arcade stick. Nothing else will really do, and I can't stress this enough. And if you have neither of these, a Wavebird will work, but don't even bother with the classic held Wii Remote or the Wiimote and Nunchuck combo, they just don't work. TvsC is also very balanced, even more so than the Japanese original, with changes in hit stun and the speed of some moves, which in turn affects the combos a character can do. For example, Soki can now combo his Demon Blade super directly after a forward heavy attack, and as far as I can tell, Karas no longer has his infinite. If I'm wrong though, feel free to let me know. I'd say my one real complaint about the game as a whole would be the online Wi-Fi mode. Sometimes you can be left waiting up to 5 minutes to join a game. I know this is a rarity, but it can still really break the flow of the experience. But the real clincher for me would be the slight input delays you experience when playing online, and sometimes it'll also not register a move you do. But if you keep the multiplayer to local, like you should, none of this is really a problem. You also earn Zenny to spend in the in-game store, where you can unlock artwork, music, galleries, and alternate costumes. Now, I personally don't like the westernized rappy version of the theme song. But thankfully, you can also unlock the original with the aforementioned Zenny. While we're on the topic, the new techno music is pretty cool and fits well.
It's your go-go, baby! Hey!
I kinda miss the old contextual character-specific themes. One last thing, most of the sucky unlockable character-specific minigames are gone, with the exception of PTX 40A's, which has been expanded into a 4-player game called Ultimate All Shooters. It's actually pretty fun, it's the type of game I'd expect to see on WiiWare. So, should you pick up a copy of Tatsunoko vs Capcom Ultimate All-Stars? Like all fighting games, the last ability entirely depends on competition with your friends. So if you do have friends or family to play local multiplayer with, TvsC will last you a very long time to come, and is definitely worth picking up. But if you're only going to be playing it by yourself, you might want to try it and see what you do think before you pick it up. However, if you're a particular fan of 2D fighting games like Guilty Gear, BlazBlue, Marvel vs Capcom or Street Fighter, I say yes, absolutely no question. In fact, what the hell are you still doing here? Go get the game and bugger off. Well, I hope you enjoyed my independent review of Tatsunoko vs Capcom Ultimate All-Stars. If you like what you saw, comment, rate and subscribe. Also, another shout out goes to my friend Ava Dracona. Thanks for helping me come up with the idea for my logo, and doing a huge amount of work on my new outro screen, which I promise I will use next time.